Mr. Chairman. Mr. Roth, did the government tell you that the Biden laptop story was fake?
No, sir, they did not.
Did they tell you it was hacked?
No, sir, they did not.
On October 14, 2020, Twitter blocks the New York Post story on the Hunter Biden, the New York Post story on Hunter Biden, and suspends their account. The night before, FBI Special Agent Elvis Chan sends you an email. The email says this: heads up, I will be sending a teleporter link for you to download 10 documents. It's not spam. Please confirm receipt when you get it. 2 minutes later, 6:24 p.m., you respond back, received and downloaded, thanks. What were those 10 documents?
Twitter didn't give me access to my laptop, but Special Agent Chan has said publicly, and the FBI has confirmed that those documents did not relate to Hunter Biden, and that's my recollection of them.
What did they relate to?
My interactions with Agent Chan and with the FBI almost entirely focused on what the FBI called malign foreign interference, things like Russian troll farms and Iranian involvement in the elections, not on any type of domestic
Any of the
activity.
information on there classified?
No, sir, I do not hold a security clearance, and so I would not have received any classified information.
Who does hold a security clearance? I'll just go to the second email here. I'm just curious about this. What I propose is that 30 days out from the election, this is another email to you from Mr. Chan. 30 days, we get temporary clearances. You pick who they are. Who were the people at Twitter?
I'm sorry. I know that I'm silent. Obviously, this is, some Twitter execs being questioned about their BS and what was actually going on at Twitter HQ. And I am so happy that Elon Musk, excuse me, purchased Twitter and got rid of these terrible people. Terrible people. Because not only were we censored on Instagram, we were censored on everything. At least now on Twitter, we have some type of freedom, right? Freedom that we were actually supposed to have in the first place. But of course, they threw in the misinformation and disinformation and started this whole, you still hear some of these elites talking about misinformation. We can't allow misinformation and disinformation when in reality, that's just a load of crap. I'm tired of those words. And now I've recognized whenever, a lot of these elitists use those words, misinformation and disinformation, I know the truth is the exact opposite of what they are saying. That's what I take it as. Whenever I hear those words thrown out, I know the truth is actually the opposite of what they're saying. Just flat out. Anyway, let's continue on. Let's jump back in.
Who had a security clearance?
To be honest, sir, I'm not sure, and we never ultimately followed through on this plan to get temporary clearances.
Did anyone at Twitter have a security clearance?
It's my understanding that at least some current or former employees did hold clearances, but I wasn't certain about that.
Ms. Gaddy, do you know if anyone took up Mr. Chan's offer to hand out security clearances 30 days before the 2020 election?
Not that I'm aware.
So we don't know how many people had security clearances. Twitter, do we know? Mr. Baker, Mr. Gaddy, Ms. Gaddy, anyone know how many people at Twitter had a security clearance in the 30 days prior to the election?
I don't know the answer to that question,
Ms.
sir.
Gaddy?
I do not know.
Mr. Roth, you don't know?
No, sir.
Well, how about the last one? Ms. Navaroli, do you know?
No.
I mean, it seemed like the offer was to sort of just hand them out like candy. I just wondered who had them. No one knows? Okay. So the FBI didn't tell you that it was fake, didn't tell you that it was hacked.
This is terrible. So they were trying to hand out security clearance. Just hand it out. Oh, here you go. So you guys could what? It's crazy, man.
And Mr. Roth, did the story violate your policies?
In my judgment at the time, no, it did not.
Yeah, that's what you said. Said what I would propose, is you said it isn't clearly a violation of our hack materials policy, nor is it clearly a violation of anything else. So I think what a lot of people are wondering is if it didn't violate your policies and they didn't tell you it was fake, didn't tell you it was hacked, why'd you take it down?
Ooh, great question.
The company made a decision that found that it did violate the policy. It wasn't my personal judgment at the time that it did, but the decision was communicated to me by my direct supervisor, and ultimately I didn't disagree with it enough to object to
You know what I think happened, Mr. Roth? I think you guys got played. I think you guys wanted to take it deep down. We saw what the chairman put up where you said, everyone in the White House is a fascist. I think you guys wanted it to be taken down. I think you meet with these guys every week. We know that's been established in the Twitter files. You had weekly meetings with Mr. Chan in the run-up to the election. They send you all kinds of emails. They send you documents on the super secret James Bond teleporter. You get information on that. I think you guys wanted to take it down. I think you guys got played by the FBI. And that's the scary part. Because we had 50, I mean, this to me is the real takeaway. 51 former intelligence officials 5 days after you guys take down the Hunter Biden story and block the New York Post account. 5 days later, 51 former intel officials send a letter and they say, the Hunter Biden story has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. The information operation was run on you guys. And then by extension, run on the American people. And that's the concern. And to Mr. Raskin's point that you guys aren't bound by the First Amendment because you're a private company, okay, maybe so. But your terms of service don't have to comply with the First Amendment. Would that be right, Mr. Roth? They don't have to. You've said that as much in your testimony.
My understanding of the First Amendment is that it protects people and businesses from government, not
Understand
informs how the...
what I'm in your terms of service. So here's what I want to know. Here's what I want to know. Is this a violation of the First Amendment when the government, Mr. Chan, again, sending you an email saying, we think these accounts need to be looked at because they violate your terms of service? That's a different standard. So you got the government saying your terms of service, which don't have to comply with the First Amendment, but the government saying we don't think these accounts comply with your terms of service, please take them down. You see a problem there, Mr. Roth?
He's going to say no.
Mr. Chairman, I'm seeing a flashing red light. I'm happy to answer the question. Do I think that that's a valuable use of the FBI's time? No, but I don't see in a request for review a problem under the First Amendment, no.
I sure do. I thank the gentleman. I yield back.
Oh, man. The collusion runs deep, guys. It runs very deep. So you had, allegedly, the FBI contacting Twitter and telling them, hey, well, we think these guys violate your TOS, so take them down for us. That's what that's what our FBI resources are going towards. I mean, my goodness, there must not be anything going on out. You know what I mean? There must not be a whole lot going on out here. You know, as far as like real crime goes, because I mean, if they have the time to monitor social media. Must not be any other criminals out here roaming the streets or something. They must, maybe they were just bored, you know, maybe like, you know, all of the great citizens of the U.S., we were all, you know, just doing some great deeds. Nobody was committing any types of, you know, federal or any type of serious crimes of any sort. I just find this stuff, you know, it's funny on one hand and also scary in the other, but it gets worse because my brother, Byron Donalds, had some questions too. Shout out to Byron Donalds. Let's dive into it.
Scenarios from 2016. You also said that you actually were opposed to deleting the New York Post story. Who advocated for the removal of the New York Post story?
The company's decision to treat it as a violation.
Mr. Roth, who at the company actually went over your recommendation? Because you're pretty high up. Who overrode you?
The decision was communicated to me by my direct supervisor.
Who was that person?
Her name was Del Harvey. She was
Okay.
the vice president of trust and safety at the time.
All right, thank you so much. Ms. Gaddy, real quick, you said to the chairman earlier, and I want to paraphrase what I heard earlier, is that Twitter had no contact with anybody from the Biden team. Is that correct to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge.
Put that up for me. Okay, over my right shoulder, we have an email. Reference, this is Saturday, October 24th, 5:39 p.m., referencing 5 different tweets. This is with a Twitter email chain. Under the line, it's more to review from the Biden team. Does anybody have a comment on how much interaction was happening with the Biden team at Twitter with respect to tweets that they wanted Twitter to review? Ms. Gaddy, Mr. Roth?
I'm not familiar with this email.
So you're not familiar with this email, Mr. Roth? Are you familiar with this email?
Only
They're all
from
going to
what's
say
been
no.
reported in the Twitter files.
Did you ever have contact with anybody from the Biden team?
No, sir, I did not. We explicitly separated the teams that would interact with campaigns from teams like mine that were responsible for content moderation.
How big was the organization in Twitter that was actually working with campaigns?
I couldn't say for sure.
Did you ever have any contact with the DNC?
Directly? No, I did not.
Did anybody at Twitter have any contact with anybody at the DNC?
I think it's likely that somebody at Twitter did, yes.
In these emails, it's listed these are tweets that had to be flagged from the Biden team. That's what's in the files. You have no idea how many people actually engage with the Twitter team or how frequently that engagement happened.
No, and again, that was by design. We kept those functions separate from content moderation so that we could impartially assess reports like this.
Well, and I think I'll end that there because there's we'll finish it. There's only about a minute left, but that's part of the problem that you even had a team in general to communicate with the government who's telling you what to do with your private company. Well, and this is why so many people got fired. First off, that was one reason, because you had a bunch of teams for nothing. For nothing. A waste of time. Just bloat. Just bloat. And you guys remember also when mainstream media, leftist media came out and was like shaming Elon Musk because he was firing so many people. Oh, how dare he do such a thing? And yet now we see a bunch of tech companies, big tech companies, firing tons and tons of people. I think even Google, if I remember correctly, I think I saw a story where Google fired like a crazy number of people. But nobody's saying anything about it in leftist media, which again shows everyone the bias. And I'm so happy that I'm seeing more and more people that were leftists open their eyes to the BS and realize, bro, these MFers are so biased. Like they've overstepped their bounds, right? If leftist media and the leftist elitists kind of like pushed their bias in like certain little areas and kind of kept it a little more centered in others, like were more strategic in what. Now I probably shouldn't be saying this because maybe one of them is watching. It's like, yeah, we probably do need to, because things are getting out of hand. But anyway, they've gone way too far in pushing their leftist bias. I mean, from the top down. So now it's becoming really, really obvious for people, especially after all of this new information coming out. You got the Twitter files, and now you've got these hearings where people are being put on the stand and being questioned, and people are watching this stuff. I monitor social media whenever like anything of note happens, and I read through the comments, and you'd be surprised. A lot more people are opening their eyes than what a lot of you may realize. And I always, whenever I'm like shocked at something where people are opening their eyes to the leftist BS, I always remember back. And this was when I was a leftist myself, admittedly. I'll put myself on Front Street. I made no secret about that. But I remember Uncle Trump said something that was really, really interesting. And he said the silent majority. And at the time, I kind of brushed it off, silent majority. Yeah, okay, silent majority. But now I understand. There's a lot of people in this country that are silent. A whole lot that are silent, that recognize the BS and don't support the BS and actually are in support of folks on the right, like Uncle Trump. So it's great to see. But anyway, I'll finish this out and then we'll wrap up this video.
You know how many tweets were actually flagged and taken down at the behest of the Biden team?
I wouldn't agree with the characterization of it as being at the behest of them. These tweets were reported, and Twitter independently evaluated them under its rules.
But the email is very clear. More to review from Biden team. The response 3 hours later at the bottom, hold this up real quick so we can see. The request at the bottom, it says, handled these. What does handled these mean?
My understanding is that these tweets contained non-consensual nude photos of Hunter Biden, and they were removed by the company under.
Hold on, real quick, Mr. Roth. How could you know so much about the content of these tweets? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, these are just web addresses. I don't know what's in these tweets. You have these things committed to memory that you know the content, but you don't know who you talk to at the Biden team?
Bingo.
Sir, I didn't meet with the Biden team, but there was extensive public reporting about these tweets specifically that uncovered what they were.
You know the
and-
contents of the tweets.
I-
It was obviously at Twitter. But you have no idea how often people who worked in your organization had with the Biden team during the end of the 2020 presidential.
Shout out to Blaze TV and shout out to Byron Donalds and Jim Jordan. Great folks. Great folks. Love Byron Donalds. Love Jim Jordan. I mean, I think those two guys are two rock stars in the Republican Party, in my humble opinion. But man, don't you love it? Don't you love it when these tyrants start getting exposed? Don't you love it when they get put out on Front Street? They can't hide, you know? I love it. And there's more to come. There's a lot more to come. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to, hear what comes of it, what comes out from it. And I know leftist media is going to ignore it. I'm sure the this administration is going to try their best to ignore it and sweep it under the rug. But in 2024, they'll hear about it. They'll hear us, the silent majority. Well, I mean, I'm not so silent. Let's keep it real. I'll talk your ear off if you let me. Okay? Seriously. I know. But yeah, they will hear from the silent majority. And I'm telling you guys, I mean, what I'm seeing across social media, and listen, maybe this is my own little bubble, but even some of the polls that have recently come out have backed this up. But what I'm seeing across social media is honestly incredible. Honestly incredible. The silent majority, first off, isn't so silent anymore. More and more people are starting to speak out and call out the BS and show their support for guys like Uncle Trump or DeSantis, just Republicans in general, because for a while there, the name Republican kind of was like demonized, right? You say that you're a Republican, and there's like a certain segment of the population that looks at you like you got the hurt jerper, like, you know what I mean, like something crazy going on with you, like you a Republican? Now things are starting to shift. But let me know what y'all thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.